Let's see, we have birthdays. Rex here. Rex isn't here today. All right. That is rare. Oh, that's his anniversary. And we did birthdays, Tony and Carrie last week. So
We did. That's all we did, though.
good. No birthdays or anniversaries. So it is February 24th, and some fun facts for you today. No hurricane has ever crossed the equator. All of the lines either go north or they go south. And did you know, for those chemists, who like chemistry in here? I'm curious. A couple. Okay, I'm actually surprised by this group. Sodium nitrate is the secret ingredient that makes any cheese into smooth, creamy, nacho cheese sauce. Coincidentally, sodium nitrate's chemical formula is Na3C6H5O7, spelling nacho. And now you'll get to pull up some chemistry fun facts next time you're at the bar having a plate of nachos. All right, we have a few folks online: Melissa, Stephanie, and Daniel. That's it for me this morning. All right, you're welcome.
Good job.
I like those fun facts. That was good. And also, I'd like to say, by the time my presidency ends, I will remember to turn on the camera, Michael. So, a couple months to go, and I'll remember.
Mhm.
All right, things that we need to move along to. We are going to have our member minute with Steve, who are ready to go. Is the other Steve? Sorry. It's early. What can I say? Sorry, Steve. Hey, Steve. Steve with an H. My apologies. Ready? Yes, no, maybe? Member minute? No, move. That's next piece. That's next piece. I'm gonna have a little coffee. Maybe that'll help while you're chatting. We'll see.
I'd like everybody to get their phones out and think about them this morning. Got something to tell you. So, Bill and I were just talking. It seems like I was just up here like a couple of weeks ago. And with my Catholic upbringing, you're going to learn two things about me today. One of them is we were brought up and taught that you shouldn't really promote yourself. So one thing I don't like to do is to talk about myself, but I love talking to groups, so that's okay. The other thing I thought you might be interested in is that I own a patent. And I want to tell you about it. That's where the phone comes in. I own a patent on a machine that was going to allow a user to walk up to a kiosk and select 10 songs from a library and then record an audio cassette immediately that you could then take with you. I know I'm aging myself. Y'all remember audio cassettes?
I don't.
Thanks, Rich. I guess you get to a certain point, you don't remember a lot of stuff. I didn't mean that in a negative way. Sometimes we want to forget some of those things. Anyway, we had a number of challenges when we started out. I'm talking 1983, if I remember correctly. We had to prove the concept. So we had to first store a bunch of music. Okay, and that's what I wanted you to have your phones for. I'm going to give you a little bit of a comparison. Our idea was to have 1,000 songs that you could select from. I have more than that on my phone, just so you know. So we went out and purchased a 292 megabit storage unit. It's the size of an old desktop computer on end, stood about that tall. cost $11,000. My phone and many of yours has 128 gigs. So if you want to do the math, there's 3 times in 1 gig of storage that we bought for $11,000. And I have 128 gigs in here, which is, it's about 300 times the 11,000 that we spent. And this phone's only, well, right now it's worth about $10, but over it costs $1,000. So that was the first challenge, was to prove the concept, and then how do you mass produce that? The concept was to put these kiosks in malls, airports, maybe large hotel type complexes. We never got there because everything went from cassette to CD like overnight, and there wasn't a way to really produce that. And then we finally went to the real world that we're in. But anyway, it's very interesting developing all the technology behind it. So the challenge is storage, but that wasn't why it didn't work. The problem was we went down to Nashville to talk to the music people. And that was not necessarily the hub back then, but it was a hub. And we met with a number of executives in the music business. They just said, there's no way. We're going, what are you talking about? They said, well, the artists are never going to allow you to decide what other artists they're going to be on the same cassette with to listen to music or to record their music. We're going, yeah, but we would abide by all the, the rights and pay royalties. They said, it doesn't matter. There's just too much out there that they're just not going to agree with. So we had the technology. We thought we had a good business plan. We had some financial backing, but we couldn't get the music. And now what do we all do? We create our own playlist, and we're doing it today. So there's a lot of patents out there that clearly never come to fruition. And it's not because of the patent itself or the technology or how they develop it. It's always because of something else that fits into that. So 2 things you learned about me today. I have a patent, and second, I don't like talking about myself. So. I don't know what I'm going to do next time.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you next week, just so you know. That's how it's gonna go. All right, so yes, indeed, next week on March the 3rd, we are meeting at Pickleball Kingdom. So if you come here, you're gonna be very lonely, and this is such a good crowd. You're gonna want to be at the Pickleball Kingdom. So next week, March 3rd, at Pickleball Kingdom.
Yeah, where it's tell us where it is.
I actually do not know where it is, and was planning on using my phone to find out where it is upon going. So 19.
19 is Broadway, the old GT.
It is 463 Broadway.
Okay, campus. All right.
Parking.
Awesome. Okay. So other things to know about. So Midwest Pets is coming up very quickly, March 6th and 7th. To that end, we have that charge to bring or to contribute some items to have our folks bring at that event. So if you have come either today with cash or blunt tip scissors, today's your day. Yes. Thank you very much. On the 10th, we are going to try, though I do hear that there might be some challenges, we are going to try to have the speaker host be the greeter. I'll have a little cheat sheet on what we might look for as a greeter for that day, for the 10th. My understanding is that we continue to need folks for Meals on Wheels. That has not changed from last week. So if you are interested at all, please, please, please let Quentin know or let me know. April 6th, also coming up faster than I can possibly imagine, is our day for Sunshine Supper. So mark that date. And May 2nd is the day of the turkey party. And I know we'll get more information on that too. The other thing I wanted to share is that we will be having a big check, as people like to say, a big check ceremony with Sunshine Place. And we'll have more information on that soon. But Ann Overly is working on that to have that for us, and I'll make sure that everybody knows about that. All right. Rotary moments. Must be some. Rich.
I got a quick here. Very shortly, you starting March Madness. This year is on the men's. Those of you who haven't had it before, we do the men's basketball tournament this year. And what you do is you'll pick the 16, and if we account for the scores, and you pay 2 cents for every score that they have. At the end, the winner actually pays the most money, but the money then gets to be donated to the charity. We'll go through the whole thing. So that'll be coming up pretty quick. Start thinking about your teams that you want. Also, the other thing to think about is starting shortly, it'll be Service Above Self, which to me is, again, one of the reasons we're here is it's taking people in the community and recognizing them for the service that they do to the community. The only stipulation is they can't be recurring, so non-recurring. And we will be working on that more in April and March, but start thinking about it. We'll be starting the marketing of it next month. The other thing we talked about, now I don't know, I wasn't here last week. Well, one of the things is that we have a lot of information on our website, but I don't know if anybody or how well everybody knows how to use the website and what to look for. And we were talking about possibly doing some sessions every once in a while, or maybe at a meeting, we'll talk about one thing you can do on the website or stuff like that. So if there's something you really want to know, please let me know and we'll start working on that. Good, that's it. Okay. Oh, it's the address for pickleball. Even at 463 Broadway.
If we want to know who's passed, it's been nominated in the past. Is there a list on the website, or where can we find? I will do it.
That's
Good idea.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. I'd just like to say as an aside, I blame March Madness for my state today. I'm down a sports director, and I spent all day yesterday plotting teams of 3rd and 4th graders. Madness. Who knew? I won't play with this kid. This coach is better. That kid I have to be with. Madness. Other Rotary moments. Dan.
Well, every course has been a grind, to put it mildly. Last night, Deb, myself, Jeannie, Dan Field, and my sister Joy sat with Cindy Berkeley with the Parks Department, and we ground through some of our final revisions, hopefully, for our plaques. I'll tell you I got Deb and my sister, who are great wordsmiths. I can build a lot of stuff, but when it comes to words, that's never been my specialty. But I'll tell you, we put 4 hours in last night on that, and made real good progress. I mean, we still got some things, and trying to get graphics and the right kind of graphics and get it to match up and things like that. Let's see. So it was pretty amazing, and I just hats off to them. And Deb worked all weekend kind of creating the last versions that we could actually work on for yesterday. Honestly, the wording on the plaques is probably one of the hardest things in Captain Marsh that we've been working on. I met with the Mason yesterday just to make sure we're all on speed, how we're going to do things, that kind of thing. One thing, as our committee, we're really got our hands full, and I guess I'm going to defer to the board a little bit about maybe possibly if we can get a groundbreaking something pulled together, because I need help. When it really comes down to it, for us to pull that together. We got to make things happen, and all of us are we're juggling balls right now, and to make this happen. And so we got a short deadline. We got to have a May 10th as our We want to see them all. And so we can get the $8,000 grant or keep the $8,000 grant, is really what it is, from Rotary International, is what we're at. So, that's why I'm gonna, more than one person has brought up the groundbreaking now. And, it's something that we really need to do, but we need help to pull that off. We can give lists and names and things like that, but I need help.
Right. Noted. Any other Rotary moments at all? Any at all? All right. Well then, John, if you'd like to introduce your guest, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jen. This morning's speaker is Tom Eggert. Tom is the founder and president of the board of WorldWise Microfinance, and he's the recipient of the 2025 Nonprofit Leader of the Year Award from In Business Magazine here in Madison. Prior to his retirement, he taught classes on sustainability at UW. Tom has been at the forefront of business and sustainability for the last 30 years, developing academic degree programs in sustainability at UW-Madison, and founding and serving as the executive director of the Wisconsin Sustainable Business Council. He has written and spoken extensively on the changing role of business in society, the power of microfinance, and how the private sector must lead when the public sector is unavailable and unable to. Tom holds a law degree from George Washington University, a Master of Public Administration from UW's La Follette Institute, and prior to law school, he was a Peace Corps volunteer in the Philippines. Tom, thank you.
All right, so how do I get the computer to?
Do you want a pointer?
No, we're good. So instead of a presentation, I thought, oh geez, I'm gonna be really loud. I can get used to talking without a microphone. I'm just gonna show our website and then walk through our website a little bit. It's only just a little bit of background. So as John said, taught at UW for 25 years, taught classes on sustainability and systems thinking. Fall semester 2009, I had a student from Haiti in my class. Like all students, he went home for Christmas holidays and was on, turned out, the last flight out of Port-au-Prince before the big earthquake in January of 2010. We all remember, because we're old enough, it's different talking to this crowd than talking to students. That was the first natural disaster that we could actually donate on our phones to the Red Cross. That technology had gotten to the point where we could go to our phone and say, yes, I want to give some money to the Red Cross that be used for assistance in Haiti. Haiti is close, not that far off the southern tip of Florida. As a society, we were all very interested in what happened. 300,000 people were killed, millions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars worth of property damage was done. The world rushed in. There was food, there was water, there was shelter, there was medicine that was all being presented and given to the Haitian people. I had a student in my class from Haiti, so he represented, what had happened there. And my students raised $3,000 from friends, family, aunts, uncles, grandparents. And we were just trying to find an organization to give that money to that was helping people get back on their feet. Not food, not water, not shelter, not medicine. That was all being taken care of by aid organizations. But so many of the people that were still alive had worked for people that were now dead, or had worked in businesses and buildings that no longer existed. And so there was a whole generation, really, of people in Port-au-Prince, in the capital, that had nothing to do. And so we were trying to figure out who is helping these people get back on their feet. And we looked from this country, Jurgen's parents looked from within Haiti, and we just couldn't identify an organization that was doing that was actually helping people get back on their feet. And so we had read the book by Muhammad Yunus, Banker for the Poor, which really talked about the foundation of beginning points of microfinance. And so Jurgen's put us in touch with a pastor of his when he was growing up, who had founded an economic development group. And we approached him and said, would you would you develop a microfinance program? And he promptly said, I know nothing about microfinance. If you tell me what to do, I could do it, but I don't know at all what I would be doing. And so it was a student project. We designed a microfinance project or program, what it would look like based on the principles. So it went out. I have to be more interactive with it. Oh, okay. Based on the principles of the Green Bank. So 80% of the loans needed to go to women. Why women versus men? Because we were trying to help families. There's great academic research out there that if you help a woman provide for her family, that family actually benefits. It's not always as true if you help men. Sorry, this is the reality. All the loans need to be very low interest loans, no more than 1% per month. So extortionary in this country, but I mean, a third or less of the best interest rates that were available in Haiti. Short-term loans, low interest, and then the key was all the loan recipients needed to be part of a support group or a peer group. And so the groups would be 6 to 8 people, and everyone in that group needed to know, I'm not getting another loan until everyone in my group has paid back their last loan. And so that was the beauty of the Grameen Bank. Muhammad Yunus was the founder of the Grameen Bank. He won a Nobel Peace Prize for this innovation. Small loans to poor people with no collateral actually had higher repayment rates than traditional bank loans, not only in this country, but in the developing world. And it was that pure accountability, peer pressure element that worked so well, that my success is tied to making sure you do the things you're supposed to do. Because in all of these groups, somebody would get sick, somebody would get robbed, just be a bad business idea. And yet the loans were still getting paid back because of the peer support of the others. And they were doing that because they wanted another loan. So that was the model that we sent down. We sent down the $3,000. There was $50, $60 loans that were made in the summer of 2010, 6 months loans. All of those loans were paid back, and people wanted more loans, and more people wanted to participate in the program. I went down in 2011, and people were very excited about this loan program. It was back in 2013, and we had hundreds of people that were participating and more than 1,000 that were on a waiting list. It worked. And so for years, I had groups of students that would do fundraisers, and we gradually send a little bit more money down to Haiti. In 2014, we were approached by a group of returned Peace Corps volunteers from the Philippines and said, you know, that natural disaster that happened in Haiti that spawned the creation of the program, we've had something very similar to that happen in the Philippines. There was an earthquake and a typhoon that came through the central part of the Philippines, devastated several of the islands. Could we set up a microfinance program in the Philippines? And we said, well, sure. I mean, we've got a website, we've got the infrastructure to help you. We just don't have any money. I mean, all of the money, we were raising $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 a year. All of the money that we were raising was going to Haiti, and we really couldn't support another country. And they said, we'll take care of the raising of the money if you'll help us get the infrastructure put in place. So in the Philippines, we worked with a credit union, which had a lot of benefits working with an economic development group, which we were working with the Philippines. Much less education needed in how to run a loan program and those kinds of things. COVID came and ended up with a board member that was married to somebody from the Dominican Republic, and they said, there's this guy running a foundation in the Dominican Republic that this would be a perfect fit for a microfinance program. So we added the microfinance program in the Dominican Republic during COVID. And then after I retired in the last couple of years, we added 3 countries in Africa. So we're in Ghana, we're in Kenya, and we're in Uganda. So all told now, so we're 16 years old. We're at about getting close to $600,000 worth of loans that have been made. And we're a real small organization. We have no staff. So we're still an all volunteer organization. And we are making a difference in the lives of people that we'll never meet, right? I mean, families that live in really abject poverty, living on less than $2 a day, and giving them the opportunity to, not through aid, through, sort of giving them stuff, but giving them the opportunity to themselves lift themselves out of poverty. And so that kind of story, I think, resonates really well with Rotarians. I mean, you guys are very involved in international development kinds of things. And so the parallels between what we're doing and what you guys are often involved with through the international work that you're doing, I think are really good. So let me just run through. So our website, worldwisemicrofinance.org. I should say, so we rebranded last year. For the first 15 years, we were Wisconsin Microfinance. Our roots were at the University of Wisconsin. It just made sense. But I have to tell you, after getting hundreds of calls over the years from people in Wisconsin saying, I have this really good business idea. Can you just provide some funding for us? And it's like, yes, if you live overseas, but we can't really help you in Wisconsin. That's just not the way we're set up. And let me just take a quick diversion on that. So our loans in, whatever country we're in, I mentioned they were $60 loans in Haiti. So our loans are between $100 and $200 first round loans in the countries that we're active in. If they pay back that first loan, then the second loan doubles, and then the third loan triples from that original amount. So it gradually grows over time. But we're changing the lives of families for hundreds of dollars. If we would set up a microfinance program, and we've been asked to set up a microfinance program in this country, we're talking probably 2 orders of magnitude difference in the amount, in the size of the loans, right? Could we make a difference in the life of a family in southwestern Wisconsin? Good example. Before we deported all of our Hispanic people, there were Hispanic farmers, Hispanic men working on dairy farms in southwestern Wisconsin. Their wives generally were not employable. Many of were not here legally. And so we had been approached, could we set up a microfinance program for the women of these farmers in southwestern Wisconsin? Well, yes, in theory, but instead of a $100 loan, we couldn't even make a $1,000 loan. I mean, that really wouldn't make a difference. We needed 10,000 or 25,000 or 50,000 to really help launch a program. And it was simply just, it's more money than we could raise. I do want to tell you about some of the statistics, but so where we are as an organization, we've been around for 16 years. I mentioned we're an all volunteer organization. This last year, we hired our first contractor to help with development, growing the amount of money that we have coming in that we can then distribute. The other benefit of that is that, as John mentioned, I retired in 2019. This is a passion project. I love what I'm doing, but my wife is not keen on the fact that I'm spending 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week doing this in my retirement. And so she would like, and I agree with her, it's not just her pushing me, that wouldn't it be wonderful if we transition the organization from an all-volunteer organization to a staff-run organization. Many nonprofits go through this transition over time. And so the biggest challenge is, okay, where are we going to get the money to pay someone? And so thus the hiring of our first development director and a 3-year plan, now down to a 2-year plan, that we will have sufficient money by the end of 2027 that I could step away from the executive director role and hire somebody to come in as an executive director. And we don't want to have just a year's worth of money, because I think you get a different kind of person if you say, you've got money for a year. If you want a job after that, you have to raise it. And it just creates a little bit of a different kind of incentive. So we'd like to have a couple of years worth of salary money available to this person, and have them run with the, with the program, stay involved. Kristen's on my board. We have a very active board. Being an all volunteer organization, who does all of the work? Well, the board, right? And so she knew that when she signed on. When I asked her and she said yes, it was yes. We understand that this is going to be something that we're going to be taking on. I spread out a couple of our annual reports are on the back table. You can take those, just glance through them. Those are all done by volunteers. Now, I still do have access to students. Not that I maintain great relationships with the university, though I think I do, but it is amazing to me how many students reach out of the blue and say, I love what you're doing. How can I be a part of that while I'm in school, getting those experiences, whether it's data analysis or marketing or organizational development experience. And so I've got 4 interns now working with us. People are approaching me about the summer. So interns are wonderful. They need time. Somebody needs to help them figure out what they need to do and how to be most useful. But it's a great model for an organization that doesn't have the money to pay people. And we've done a lot with interns. Without interns, we would really be at a loss. Okay, so on the website, under the programs, these are the different countries that we're in. Several of those countries have more than one program. So the Dominican Republic has 2 programs. One, the original one that was started in COVID. Second one that started last year. That is it's just in a different part of the country. Ghana has 2 programs. The original one that we started with, and I'll tell you the story of how we ended up there. I'm very dependent on board members. And so one of my board members went to Ghana with a woman that he worked with. Because she said, Ghana's a beautiful country. You should really come and see the country. He went over, met an organization that he pitched the idea of developing a microfinance program with. And voila, we have now our first microfinance program in Ghana, working with actually a tribal government. And so that program now has, it's been up and running for over 2 years. We added a second Ghana program about 6 months ago that is in the northern part of the country. So Ghana is on the coast, on the west coast. There's a sort of an ocean part of Ghana, and then there's a highlands part of Ghana that's up in the north. The further you get away from the ocean, the poorer people get. And so we're working with a program up in the northern part. Let me tell you about what's happening in Haiti. Actually, I can't, because I don't know what's happening in Haiti. Haiti is an absolute mess right now. As some of you may remember, their president was assassinated going on 3 years ago now. And the country has devolved into sort of gang leadership. And there are no U.S. airlines even that fly to Haiti anymore. The last ones that flew there, the people were shooting at the planes as they came into Port-au-Prince, and so there are no more commercial flights to Haiti. Our liaison in Haiti, so we're now working with an agricultural co-op, is Haitian. Been in Haiti his whole life, but because he was running an agricultural co-op, a price was put on him, and he had to leave the country because he was worth something to one of the gangs. And if they could capture him, they could put a bounty on him. And if you wanted him back, you'd have to pay so much money. So we believe the program is still running in Haiti. There are still money coming in from the loans that had gone out. Hopefully that money is being turned around and relent again. we've got 15 years of experience that that's how it had worked. We just don't know what's happened because he isn't able to find out where we are as far as loan repayments. So Haiti is just, I mean, I don't know that we in, especially in Wisconsin, know what a mess Haiti is. And Haiti's just not far from the southern coast of, of the US. But it's just a mess. I mean, white people just can't go to Haiti. That you would be kidnapped without sort of armed protection. So Haiti's a mess. Kenya, we're working with, actually, this is the first time that we're working with a business. And it was a business around economic development. And now they're running the microfinance program that we designed with primarily women working in agriculture and and we've got a great video that I could show you, but I won't bore you with that. But just what a difference the program is making. Again, we're based on this principle that if you give somebody a fish, you feed them for a day. If you teach them to fish, they can feed themselves for a life. That's the principle that we're enabling people to take responsibility for their own lives and make a difference and lift their families up. Everybody wants their kids to live a better life than what they live. And so here's an opportunity to actually make a difference for your kids, whether that means your kids are in school more often or they're eating better or whatever. One of the constant sort of criticisms of microfinance is so often it's based on this idea: you take a loan, somebody takes out a loan, they work hard, they pay back that loan, and they're really never better off. That is a very common criticism of microfinance. So we decided to test that. So again, using students, had a group of students put together a survey. The survey would be administered at the time the first loan was made, the time the second loan was made, the time the third loan was made. So we now have a time series of data over time. And we ask them just about quality of life issues. What's your roof made of? How many pots and pans do you have? How many meals did you eat in the last week? How many of those meals had a source of protein? How many days were your kids in school? What are some of the health outcomes? And we now can show with real data that loan recipients are eating more meals. More of those meals have a source of protein. Their kids are in school more often, both boys and girls, and health outcomes are better. And so it's not just me or us saying, oh, microfinance is a good deal. We actually have the data that we can say, yes, this does make a difference in the lives of the loan recipients. Philippines, second longest program. We were originally on the island of Bohol. We're now on the island of senior moment. We're in the city of Iloilo on the island of Panay. And again, continuing to work through satellite credit unions, which makes it really easy for us. And then Uganda, we're working with a woman that is an MIT grad that I met that wanted to focus on women's empowerment. And so all of the groups that we're working with, we have relationships with. We don't target a country and say, this is a poor country, we should establish a microfinance program there. We find a relationship that exists. And with UW-Madison being here, it's easy to find relationships that people have been active in countries for a long time. Those people, those liaisons, they're the secret to our success, because it's not us sending money to somebody that we've never met. We're sending money to somebody that knows somebody around here, and that our person, our contact person around here will hold them accountable. So we haven't lost any money, which is it's such a huge challenge for most organizations, because corruption is endemic in the developing world. So you've got, $5,000, which is what we start with. That money could easily disappear, but it doesn't. It doesn't, because there's people holding them accountable to to implement the program that we have designed. How long do you want me to talk? Do you want me to keep talking, or would you like, I can certainly answer questions. Okay,
Can I ask a question?
sure, yes,
So you said initially it was like $60 or $100.
yes.
And so does that go to the women? Do they have, like, what do they use that money for?
Okay, so lots of questions there. Let me answer each of them. So our average loan is about $120 now. So it's not that much different than when we started. A little bit more, but these are really small loans. The women, so the easiest way to think about our organization is we raise money and we send money away with instructions on what to do with that money. We do not make any of the decisions on who gets a loan. We don't work on collecting loans. That's all done through these partners that we have. And so we have contracts, we have a memorandum of agreement that we sign with each of these partners, and they agree to implement the program. So the women would approach the partner would solicit in the community that there's a microfinance program, here's the opportunity. You have to come up with your own business ideas. So what kinds of business ideas are we funding? Very, very small scale business ideas. Things like buying small animals and growing them into large animals and then selling. Think about goats or pigs or chickens or things like that. Other agricultural stuff, buying seed, buying utensils that you need for agriculture and growing and running a crop. Lots of small cottage industries. Things as simple as starting a market in a small town that allows people not to have to travel a distance to go to the market in the big town. And so our loan recipients would go to the market in the big town, bring a bunch of stuff back, price it in a way that they could cover their loan costs, the transportation costs, and actually make a little bit and then sell in the market. Lots of small shops. Corner grocery stores are really popular, and just carving out part of their house where they're gonna, stock some things that are, that meet needs that are there. Cottage industries, sewing, clothes or other kinds of things. So, I mean, this is nothing. There are groups out there that like do solar projects. How do we help, sort of houses develop, get light at night? That's not us. I mean, those are bigger loans. Our loans are smaller. So I think primarily women that are doing this they come up with the idea, they say, I think I can make a little bit of money and make a difference in my family by implementing this thing. Does that answer your question? Yes.
So it sounds like the administration of the loans is all in country.
Correct.
So what is your relationship here in the United States besides raising the funds?
So we feel an obligation then to report back to all of our donors. And so all of our partners in country provide us monthly reports. And so we get a list of everybody that's taken out a loan, where they are on the repayment of that loan, and what percent of them are women, how many total loans have been made over time. So that's the mandated part. The survey part is also a requirement. So they're doing the surveys. So before a loan goes out, survey, before a second loan goes out, survey, we get that information back. That happens pretty well. The part that we really struggle with is just tell us the case studies, tell us the stories around these loan recipients so that we can share those on the website. We have a section for case studies, through social media. And that's just, it's harder to get, sort of pictures and stories of the families. More often than not, those come when somebody from the board goes over to the country and we interview some of the loan recipients and then write those up as far as stories. So the part that I expect someone is going to ask at some point, why would somebody do this? I mean, are we paying them? And the answer is no, we don't pay our partners to implement these programs. We do tell them that the interest that is paid back on the loans is available to offset administrative costs. So you have to travel out to the field to collect money on a weekly or a monthly basis, whatever it might be. There's costs incurred in that travel. Those costs can be offset by the interest that is paid back on the loans. But we don't want to, so in all cases, we are contracting, we are working with existing organizations that are already active in the community. It isn't a good fit if you have a new organization that you said, oh, we could implement this microfinance program. It's like, yeah, but if you're a new organization, there's no money from us for you to implement that program. You need to already be up and running in the community. So we sell the program as a tool. It's an additional tool that's available to an organization that's already committed to women's empowerment, income inequality, poverty reduction, whatever it might be. There's a lot of comparable mission kinds of work that aligns well with what we do. And I mean, it has to fit with them. I mean, we're not trying to buy our way into an organization, right? They already have to be passionate about what we're doing, and then use the loans as an additional tool to help them accomplish that, whatever their mission might be. Yes.
Some examples of the kinds of businesses these women choose to begin.
So, I mean, think very small scale, right? So some of our case studies online talk about little stores that get set up in somebody's house. And it could be grocery stores, it could be little clothing stores, other things that, so again, they're all identifying a need, that they think that there is a need in the community, and if they meet that need, people will pay them for either the service or the goods that they're providing.
Food preparation.
Food preparation there's a lot of that goes on. In the Philippines, there's a whole section of the market that all of the loan recipients are in the market and all doing food preparation kinds of things. So yes, I mean, it's basic entry level kinds of stuff that I think any of these women could do if they just had, sort of the ability. So it's just that funding. So Muhammad Yunus has a lot of really great quotes about poor people aren't poor because they lack initiative. They're poor because they lack access to resources. And so trying to address that lack of resources, or the inability to get, sort of the basic things that you just need to start a business is what we're trying to address. Yeah.
You're doing is awesome. Have you ever partnered with another organization? Because microlending, like Rotary and clubs are involved with
We are open for possibilities, so we have not. And so one of the differences between us, so I mean, has anybody heard of Kiva? So Kiva is the largest of the microfinance organizations. Most other microfinance organizations are built on a Kiva model. We are not. We are set up purely as a nonprofit. So the money that you give us, we send overseas, goes out in a loan, comes back when it's paid back, goes out in a loan, comes back when it gets paid back, goes out in a loan. So you send us $100, that can circulate, to 50 different families over the course of time. Kiva and the others are set up on a model that you give them some money, they will promise to give it back to you if you want. Many people don't take it back, but that there is that promise that you could get your money back. Whenever an organization has somebody's money with an obligation to return it if they ask, the Securities and Exchange Commission gets involved, and the paperwork involved in tracking that money overwhelmed us to begin with. And so we said, we can't do that. We're an all-volunteer organization. So we're not going to try and promise to get people their money back if they would like. And most, as I said, most microfinance organizations are set up on a socially responsible investing model that you can get your money back after the loan goes out and gets paid back if you want, and maybe you get 1 or 2% interest on it.
No, Rotary's model is your model, because we're a nonprofit internationally.
Right.
But I just didn't know if you.
No, I would be open, right, to partnering with Rotary or anybody else that, again, one of the reasons that I come and do these talks is that it's amazing how many people know somebody somewhere in the global South that we then can use that relationship. So we don't go in anywhere uninvited, right? We need somebody that has the relationship, and then it's easy because somebody's going to be holding that sort of partner accountable.
And yeah, same model Rotary has, countries where we have a partner on
Yes.
board and we can-
Yeah.
we can help with whatever.
Yeah. Anything else? Yeah. Oh, wait, hang on.
Yeah, I was in Haiti about a month after the
Earthquake?
We shipped a couple containers there.
Yeah.
That's in.
Yeah.
The bad people, even the stuff, the food that was being shipped, they would.
Yeah.
But I like what you're doing, because that's really how it should help people. With a sense of-
Agency, gives them agency, gives them a sense of dignity that they're making a
I
difference.
work in Kansas City.
Okay.
We mostly do medical. We also set up widows and we send them up with chickens. That they can.
Yeah.
Grow chickens, sell the eggs.
Yep.
And we also ship a lot of sewing machines. Where you can pay working good.
Yep.
So. And make it set up.
Right. Yeah. So I'll just
But your
mention,
model is really good. Like, really, I've seen a lot of people go, Americans think that they just give money, then do it. But I've seen them where a church has gone over, bought a tractor for a farm, and he uses it like they're there. They leave, they don't have gas money anymore.
Right.
Breaks down. It's up.
I'll just mention real quickly, I was in Haiti in 2011, and then in 2013, I was amazed at how nothing had been done as far as infrastructure sort of development or repair over that 2-year period. Roads were still impassable, and there were billions of dollars that were donated to Haiti, and so much of it got.
Yeah, we were over there, we were doing still. Kids were coming out and eating.
Yeah.
They also over there, they made dirt cookies. Taking the water and this is the dirt. Kids.
Thank you all. This has been wonderful.
All right.
Oh, yeah, that does.
There's that thing.
Hey, happy dollars, everyone get out your money. You get freebies, you get to stand up and just share something good or happy that's happening in your life, does not have to be work related. Okay, I'm gonna let you go, but do you have anything happy you would like to share with the group? Anything good?
Do I have to start?
Yeah.
Oh.
You have to go. So we'll let you go, but you have to share something happy first.
So, it's always happy when you have a kid that gets married, right? So my son, was married last week in Texas. Why Texas, you might wonder. His fiance wasn't from Texas. She was from Chicago. He's from here. Her parents moved down to Texas a number of years ago. said, well, if you're gonna get married, you're gonna get married in Texas. That was literally the only family that was there. But we got to see Austin. We flew into Austin, and then we spent some time traveling through Texas. After that, went down to Padre Island. You haven't ever been to those barrier islands. They're amazing. Just gorgeous. It's very different. Happy that my son got married.
Thank you. Great.
I know, I know. All right, Laura. All right. Thank you for your presentation. I'm trying to convince my brother who lives in South Dakota, he retired from the USDA, South Dakota. But, I like Texas.
Agreed.
Anyway, he likes it. It's worked for him. So, but I just took a picture and sent it because he was in the Peace Corps and he worked USDA, traveled all over the world. I'm like, you have got to join Rotary. So hopefully you
That'd be great.
Here, you can have that one. I'll just for your pie.
He knows.
You didn't even make her. That's for that standard. That's not standard.
Anything else good?
Oh, no, I like the sun. The sun, and I'm glad I don't live in New York right now.
Yeah, there you go. That's really good.
I'm gonna pay. I don't want you to go empty-handed here since you're covering for Happy Valley. I just want to thank you for your presentation. That was wonderful. When I saw it originally on the document, I was like, "Oh, there's like a bank here coming," you know. And this like beyond my expectations. So great to learn about. Thank you.
We have Alex on the presentation and a little thing about products we use. My grandkids were at my house this weekend, and we had a new hospital bed that's going to my father-in-law, and my grandkids were trying out the hospital bed. They both gave it bad reviews. They said it's not fast enough.
Father-in-law colors to me.
I got one, for the past recipient from I can say it. If you go to the website under projects, under service of self, there's a list of recipients there already. So he did, that's what it is now. Okay, how about that? And I just got back, about 3 o'clock yesterday. So 1,600 miles from, Fort Lauderdale in 2 days. So it was a long one, but we did, but we had it. We had 2 great weeks in Florida, and then 1 week was cold. The rest of it was 40, 70 degrees and sun. Yeah, and then we went on a cruise. Mostly we got on the Mexico the day before. So that was nice.
My happy dollar is last weekend, I was out on the farm and actually we got like 5 or 6 inches of snow and I'm going, it's that time of year where it's like, tired of things like that. So I went up in my office and I started cleaning some stuff out and I came across a folder, which was us as Rotarians filled in for the park. Seeing the smiles and the young Carrie Weisenfeld. Steve Olson pretending he got his arm cut off with the bandsaw, just things like that. I mean, we have a great video. Maybe someday I should actually just make a presentation. So I still have quite a real cool folder. John Belkin was hugely involved in that, and we put a cedar roof on that, which was a lot of work, but it was cool and it's still there. It's beautiful. So I mean, anytime you go to Orphan Park, that's us guys. That on that project, FYI, we were 50-50 with the Parks Department. So I think what did they run us? 80 grand, Terry, and I think we raised 40. But I mean, granted, that was a few more years ago, compared to our $110 project that we're dealing with Pension Marsh. So it's quite comparable. So just FYI, wonderful memories. On a different one, I'm curious, Deb and I were just chit-chatting a little bit about photos, and I know Cass Rotary and Tim Hatfield did a lot of photos. I'm curious if anyone's got a contact phone number for it. Okay, I can use it. Okay.
I've got thank you for coming and speaking, microlending, I don't know, I'm not a banker anymore, but I was a banker for 30 years, so that, and helping people, that's just really dear to me, the line cards, and that's for coming and speaking. The second one is bad basketball team, you know, just, they've had some really great things lately, which has been fabulous to watch. And then my third one, yeah, thank you for collecting the money for the scissors. So Bill and Joe is taking with us.
Joe's passing. He's gonna go next year.
Oh, you're not gonna go 2 years from now?
He
You learn
doesn't
more.
need to.
No, he doesn't. He's got us. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Phil's gonna take him to district or the pets, Midwest pets, and then my fourth one is just, you know, Dan has been just fabulous to work with on the Patrick Marsh project, and he's got all the connections and everything, and so yeah, we are where we are because of Dan. So thank you so much for all your.
That's a news down. Heard on the news last night that there's a Rotary Club from Alaska that right now is down in Mexico, and they're kind of trapped down there with the unrest that's going on. So just the news dollar to keep them in your thoughts.
They were there on a project.
They were
Yeah,
there.
on the water project. Yeah.
Just a happy dollar. If you haven't read the Rotary magazine, it's really a great article. But the three towns here in Wisconsin, one of them happens to be about the Lake Mills Rotary and the things that they have done to keep that. I think they've got 50 members, which is amazing. But they've done a lot of things to involve the school age children into that program. That helps to get bigger than program.
That's where John's from, the White Hills Road.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great article. Get a chance to read it.
Yeah, can I go down for two? So actually put me down for three. Thank you. Great speech, great presentation. Learned a lot. And appreciate what we do. So I just wanted to say we gavelled out on Friday night, the state assembly, pretty late, about 9 o'clock. We're supposed to be done midnight on Thursday. But what was really cool, the two things I want to talk about is there's two laws that we passed, or two bills we passed, they're not laws yet, that we've been trying to get just the assembly to consider. One is Gail's Law, which ensures supplemental insurance coverage for breast cancer screening because some women need extra testing. And then also expanding postpartum Medicaid from 60 days to a year. We're one of only 2 states that currently doesn't do that, us in Arkansas. We've been trying to get these things passed for a while, but we don't control the bills that come up. So we decided on Wednesday that every single bill, we would put up an amendment for both. And we just did that over and over and over and over and over. And it just dragged out the day. And it was like midnight. And they finally agreed to put them up on the next day because as soon as they put them up, it was passed almost unanimous vote. So it was just like a procedural thing that the leadership was preventing us from doing. So anyways, really excited that those passed.
If you went down for two, you could please, one, thank you. That was super interesting and I'm very intrigued and just interesting things. So awesome. Thank you very much for that. And then second is a prelude and that I'll have, I'm sure lots to share next week, but I'm leaving on Wednesday to go to Austin. Not my favorite place, but my favorite daughter, one of the two favorite daughters, they're both favorite, is there and I'm excited to see her. So, yeah. And if you could please, our next piece is our raffle. You could draw a ticket and read the last 3 digits. That would be fantastic.
5, 2, 1.
All right,
I don't. You want all those.
Seriously, lottery tickets, man. You're the guy.
You are, you're like four.
But no.
But you could get.
So that-
What's that?
All right.
Yeah.
This pack is getting small.
It's a ring, it's an engagement ring.
Better, it's chocolate.
My fun facts for the day come from the aforementioned Rotary magazine, which really, the article was great about the travel in this area. So if you, I would agree with Jim. If you haven't read it yet, by all means, take a look and read it. But it also had true or false facts. I'm like, all right, I have to look them up this week. So we're gonna do a little true or false. We'll do one. True or false? Rotary's most successful club set goals, and not just for the upcoming year.
True.
Indeed. When club leaders think about the future plan beyond their year, they set up their club for long-term success. But anyhow, more fun facts in your Rotary magazine. All right, that is what I have. Thank you very much. Hope everybody has a lovely day. That's all.
If you want, on our website, you can say, please add me to the distribution list, and you'll get information.
Go, no, let's take a look.